What is going on? It's your boy Phoenix. It's Friday, December 23rd. I'm coming to you with another quick one here on just some progress on my app. I figured I'd share what I've learned. Dev as a pleb, for EOS or hopefully as this evolves, build a actual, application. For now, I'm focusing on as an engineer, we take very complex problems and break them up into much more manageable chunks so we don't overwhelm ourselves. So for right now, what I'm focused on is, if you remember from the last video, it was rendering what I call property cards. And these are just modular code sections that are reusable that allow us to display like voluminous amounts of information, right? Like in this case, I want to show users maybe hundreds or thousands of properties. And so by implementing some code and some structure, I can then reuse those components and really create a good UX, in my opinion. Um, so what I've done here right now is I'm constraining the results I'm showing to Google Maps, whatever's in that area. I haven't coded out the boundaries yet, which is my next step. If you guys have used applications such as Airbnb or Zillow or Redfin, you know that as you move the map, there's a dynamic update, if you will, of the various records. And so that's really my next step. And how do I optimize that? But feel pretty confident that it shouldn't be too much of a problem to do. But you can see right now what I went ahead and added is some markers for the properties. They're in yellow right now, and this is in my one of my favorite spots in Venice. So for those that are familiar with that area, that's what I'm showing right now, and just some demo properties. This is in the Venice canals, which is a pretty one of my favorite areas, and they're shown right now in yellow, those markers. But I think I'll change them again to maybe red with a white background. And these are hourly figures that are being shown. So the whole idea is that if you were a digital nomad or um, someone who's a little bit more nimble about where you live, or maybe you're a startup who's throwing a party or an event, you could, in theory, use this app to gain access to different resources. And using IoT type technology and EOS, you can basically tap into these along with your reputation, which is kind of neat. So for right now, we're just listing these properties. There's one for $20 an hour. There's one for 30. There's one for 50, and they offer various amenities depending on what you're looking for. Some of them are more event driven. Some of them are more like access maybe to a kitchen if you're maybe you're someone who likes to do road trips right across the country. So this would be a perfect app for you because instead of having to shell out, say, $80 for a level 2 or tier 2 hotel or tier 1 motel, you can pay 20 bucks to somebody and get access to some facilities. Maybe you cook yourself a nice dinner or lunch and maybe enjoy an ocean view, right? And then be on your way. So that's what this whole app is geared toward on one hand. And then the other part of it is more entrepreneurs who want to maybe do pop-ups, other types of initiatives around their communities, and help the owners of those businesses also leverage their assets, right? And so one of the cool things that I've added here is a dynamic marker. So as users will click on this, I'm showing this in my desktop. So obviously it's not as fluid as it would be on your mobile, but this is an emulator. So it's simulating how it would be on Android. But if you click on, say, I'm interested in the $20 property, right? So if I click on the $20, that is here. That's the first record that's shown. You can navigate through the images. I've added some arrows on the left and right of this image, and you can see little dots as well that kind of hint to you and tell you, how many images there are. So you can kind of get an idea of what the property looks like. Maybe you could see the outside. Um, I think it turned out pretty nice. I like the way it looks. It's maybe commensurate with other applications that are out there, and that was my target. That's what I was hoping to provide as a experience. It's not perfect. There's some things I could definitely do to optimize this, but I'm happy with it for now. For an MVP, I think it's fine. So Obviously I have to build out the review page and the guest profile pages. So, like if you click on the particular user, the whole idea is that it would interact with maybe an EOS reputation system. So you could then tie into understanding, their reputations and is this someone I really want in my home, right, or my business or my facility? And it's not just limited to kitchens or places to lounge or party. It could be any number of things really. But the whole idea is to start here and then branch this app out into crowdfunding initiatives for groups. Maybe they want to take advantage of an area. I mean, the whole, it's really a limitless potential here. But anyway, if I click on the $50 property, you can see that it actually takes me there. So it's very similar to, again, Airbnb. When you click on a property, boom, you get the fluid response from the application, which is what we want. This happens to be an event space that I said is in Venice Beach. It's an event lounge, so you can kind of page through the photos here. One issue I do seem to have in some cases is a loading issue, and there it is right there. I'm actually, so what I ended up doing is because I need to build this in a way that people could actually interact with it when it launches. So what I recently did is I moved these images from my home computer on my desktop, and now they're actually being served up from an independent remote storage layer. I'm using Microsoft Blob Storage for now. I also looked at the AWS S3, and because I am a pleb, a little bit on a budget, I'm using the lower tier latency option for serving these up. So, if I was to launch this and if this was a serious go-to time, I'd probably upgrade that service so that again the page loads are a little better. I mean, once it loads, it's fine. There could be some other things I do to optimize this, even as a pleb. I know I can do some caching, but I don't want to get too cute with a lot of those things for now. Just trying to keep it very basic and show this the concept. Get the smart lock working, get the contract interactions working, and just launch it as a kind of a minimum viable product. But you can see here, this is kind of the property concept here. It's a beautiful property. It's kind of inspiring, but that would be an idea of like an event lounge where you only have space, you only have access to the lounge area. You don't have like a bedroom or a bathroom, maybe, or maybe you have a bathroom that needs to be updated, but it just kind of gives you a perspective on what that could look like. And then if you click on the $30 one, obviously, so I'll go back up here, $30, you'll get this Marina Del Rey kitchen, and I'm kind of simulating it's supposed to be this kitchen you have access to and a bathroom, and maybe for $30 for an hour, you can, go at it as much as you want to leverage that facility in any way possible, right? And so you can kind of paginate through. Again, the photos here are not made to match the application. It was just more of a demo to show off really this interaction between the Google Maps API and the cards I built, which is something I promised in the last video. So I'll go ahead. I'm going to load this video now, but as the video starts to mature and maybe within the day, I'll load up some links for the components and tools I used if you're interested in maybe doing something similar within EOS or any other application you're really building. But the takeaway from it is I use the flat list for basically creating these cards. So the flat list takes basically the properties, which are objects. It's an array of objects, and then I map through them, and I pass to that flat list my own component I built, which is these cards. And the cards take various properties of these properties, no pun intended there, such as maybe the title, right, the description, the rates, the reviews, who owns it, those kind of things, as well as the images, which again are all served up on this Microsoft storage layer. So I make calls through an API, and I get those images and I serve them in this application. So that's kind of how that works. And then I use what's called a scroll to index, which is a function or a method that's available within the flat list to create this dynamic functionality you're seeing on the screen. For Google, I just simply used a marker, part of the React Native Google API, and then passing a custom component for the pricing. Now, I'm going to end up probably updating that and adding some better symbology for the pricing, but you kind of get a sense of how it works. And then for the photos, I used a swiper component. Again, I'll leave a link for that. And what you pass to it is basically an array of images with their various IDs. And again, it's currently stored in the Microsoft Blob storage. There's a little bit of trickery getting that functionality I just showed between the map and getting the cards to respond. So you'll have to, you have to pass different setters and different setters to set the position and then pass that to this scroll to index method that is a part of the flat list. So I forgot to mention that, but that's something I kind of struggled with. That was a good lessons learned. And yeah, it was a tremendous amount of fun. So anyway, I just thought I'd do a quick video on what I've been up to today. Some other things I was a part of today. I participated in the, I think it was the Helios discussion today on their new proposal for, it's kind of like the MyVoteEOS for the community. And there was a proposal to, I believe, reassign I think it's a 0.25 BP pay or 0.25% of that BP pay um, to the members that would be a part of this, and also requesting potentially upwards. There's no, it's not being set yet. There's just being proposed about 0.8% of inflation to go to this initiative. And so the whole idea is to provide a structure or method to eliminate some of the most of the vote buying we've seen in EOS, and to try to resurrect the community, try to align really the vision of EOS holders with the block producers that are producing the blocks, and avoid the need to have them pay for things. So, I provided my comments in the session, the Twitter Spaces. I'll probably leave a link in the comments below for that. And it was interesting because I think Brendan Bloomer had also showed up in that Twitter Spaces, although more as an observer, like most of us. So it's more of a observation with Chris and others leading the way, I guess. And my own take on it was that strictly focusing on the proposal, not Brendan Bloomer showing up, but it was more about like asking for about 0.8% of inflation, 0.8% inflation within this whole EOS network to be allocated towards this, to the members of this proxy as sort of rewards. I think it, on paper sort of makes sense, but there could be some concerns about, the relative weight that those holders or participants, how much stake of EOS do they currently have? And is there a way to align the inflation rate that's coming from the network, in proportion to whatever that user base has? And so that was the point I was trying to make in the video or in the Twitter Spaces. I think I kind of got lost, or you know, people danced around that. And so I think that's still going to be a question, how that works, because if you have just a small minority of people participating and most people are on the sidelines, they really don't get any benefit from that. And it's really a tax on them. So you'd almost have to have a minimum quorum, or, even probably better is to have some kind of proportionality snapshot basis to determine, what that inflation rate could be. So I'll put the link for the discussion below. But yeah, it was a pretty productive day. I hope you guys, took something away from this. And if you like the video, one thing you can do to support this journey is hit the like button, because I don't get paid for this. This is just passion and really just engineering stuff I like to do. It's not like I have to do it, or again, I'm getting paid for it. So believe it or not, just hitting the like button is actually very encouraging for people who are like creating content for EOS. There's not a lot of that beyond like shills who maybe get paid by bees. Not to throw salt in the bees, but I'm just saying, be nice to see the bees actually promote builders. So, but in any event, I hope you enjoyed this video. And until next time, this is Phoenix signing off. Peace.